From copying off of another Roblox game to farm off of its own success, to loading the game with tragic amounts of advertisements and microtransactions that make it seem mandatory to play the game, to stealing other people's cookie run characters and placing it into their own game without permission, to hiring underage people to work under them whilst barely or not even paying them a single cent for the hard work they put into the game, to using either AI thumbnails or traced art into their game, to even former developers coming out to talk about their disdain towards the game that they used to work on. I legitimately think I've just uncovered a cookie run Roblox game so bad that it'd be a crime for you not to know about, and someone needs to stand up and expose this game for what it truly is. This is Cookie Runner's Kingdom, formerly known as Cookie Kingdom World, a game that builds its success on everything that isn't its own. But before we get into that, we'll need to talk about Dandy's World. Trust me, this will be important later. Dandy's World is considered one of the most popular horror-like games on Roblox that draws you in with its cute, adorable characters, only to hit you with versions that will maul you to death with no chance of survival. Now, I'll admit it to myself, I've played a bit of Dandy's World over a bit of time, primarily because I usually play it with a group of friends who know what they're doing, and I still somehow usually end up being one of the last survivors. Now, from my experience, here's what I can tell you about the game. You travel down an elevator to different floors and you go around filling these machines with ichor that you have to pass quick time event checks just to make sure that they fill faster. Afterwards, you then fill all the necessary machines up and then the elevator door opens up again, which you'll have like 30 seconds to escape before you can move on to the next floor. However, there's a couple of monsters within the floors that are called the Twisted, which are basically twisted versions of the toons that's within the game that you play as. The Twisted will roam around the place attempting to hunt you down and kill you. The moment that they spot you, they'll start giving chase and you either have to run, hide, or evade from them so that they'll lose track of you. It does sound simplistic, but this game feels more so like a gauntlet. The more floors that you go down, you'll have to encounter more twisted enemies, there'll be more machines to fill, and more random events that can occur that'll make things harder. But to make up for this, you can find different items on the ground, primarily random items that can help you with certain stats, or tapes that you can spend as a sort of currency at a shop that Dandy runs himself every so often between floors. As another thing, sometimes you can choose upgrades, I think between every 2 floors, that can help you with stats for yourself or for the floors that you encounter. All in all, I'll be honest when I say this. Dandy's World isn't the scariest game that I've ever played on Roblox, since that goes to another certain one. However, there's a bunch of aspects about the game that I genuinely love. Even without it being that creepy, the game still feels very tense. There's been a lot of times I had to peek around whilst filling a machine to make sure that my progress wasn't interrupted by the Twisted. Also, the atmosphere of the place is really immaculate. From small details to the map design to even how the characters look, genuinely makes this a very charming Roblox game filled with completely original characters. While I would say that Dandy's World isn't the scariest thing ever, I could still say that it's well worth trying if you have the time. After all, the place has over 6 billion visits, which is over half of the whole population of Earth. Knowing this, it's no doubt that there would be a few copies or replications of the game that would want to prioritize off of the hype train. I've heard that Dolly's Factory is actually a game that's very similar to Dandy's World but looks fairly amazing. Twilight Zone is a bit different, but at least looks really nice, having the same sort of Dandy's World style. I mean, Kitty's World does seem a little bit weirder at face value, but it's not like it looks terrible, and I don't even know what to say about this one. However, what if you took the concept of Dandy's World, mixed it with a fandom that has brought me so much love and joy, and then replaced that love and joy for greed, theft, and a lot of other negative things? This is where Cookie Kingdom World comes in. Now, when I entered into the game, I was obviously expecting a Dandy's World clone, but with a few differences at least. Oh my gosh! When you load into the game, it hits you with some event stuff and a daily reward thing. Some games do this, and this isn't the part that I'm complaining about. To the left, you see icons similar to what Dandy's World has showcased, but with a section of role-playing as characters within the game, and also a gacha button. Fun fact, this game has a gacha, and it's not afraid to tell you about it. Oh, and also, apparently, the cookie cutters are used as currency. You would think that the cookie cutters are used for things like the gacha system, much like Cookie Run, right? Well, not exactly, as they're used to purchase spins, which are something that you have a random chance of getting either a cookie or a treasure. But if you want to, you could just use cookie cutters to buy the cookies like Shadow Milk Cookie for 50,000 cutters! Or you can bite the bullet and just spend around 749 Robux for him, which is the equivalent of nearly $8. But trust me, they really try and force in the fact that you can buy these cookies. All over the map are places where you could see models of the cookies, and it'll give you a prompt to buy them. From Capsaicin Cookie to Pitaya Dragon Cookie to even Dark Shit. Who are you? I ended up spinning at the wheel to obtain a cookie with a few free spins I started off with, and I eventually got Moonlight Cookie. I don't think that's Moonlight Cookie. Okay, but seriously, how do you screw up a cookie's name that bad? Now, there's actually a lot more to talk about within the lobby alone, but I actually want to get into the good old gameplay portion of it. It's so bad. Just like Dandy's World, you exit an elevator, go around to these machines to fill them with cookie dough, and after you fill enough of them, you run back to the exit. You think with it being a big copy of Dandy's World, then it should be able to copy things from one game to another easily, right? Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because they somehow failed at that too! There's a lot of things I can rag on, but I'll just go over my points one at a time. The levels are just so big. You'd think that it would help with the atmosphere, but it just makes it so that you have to look around for more certain machines that are hiding around the place. Heck, it's even easier because you can see the crumbled enemies come from a mile away. Oh, don't even get me started on the crumbled. It's literally just Silent Salt. That's the only crumbled cookie I was able to witness all the way up to floor 10. It took me 10 floors to find someone new. I recorded only 4 floors of Dandy's World and saw so many more. Oh, and the crumbled enemies? Worse than trash. It's tense when the cookie has you in their sight for the first time, but there's a lot of easy spots and I'm pretty sure broken spots where they just can't catch you. There's even safe zones to go, which ruins the tense part of the game. Now, what if you just refuse to go into the safe spots? Well, that's still fine because you could still outrun the crumbled by walking. You can just walk and not waste any sprinting power and they won't attack you. But you know the worst part? You can just stand still and they won't hurt you! It wasn't until floor 11 where Crumbled White Lily grew a pair and assaulted me. I recorded 30 minutes worth of footage for Dandy's World and 45 minutes worth of footage for Cookie Kingdom World. I'll take the former any day of the year. The only good thing I'll admit that was in the game was floor 10, which was a boss battle sort of floor with Dark Enchantress Cookie, because the music was pretty good and it actually felt a lot more hectic with the blue atmosphere. Even then so, I'm pretty sure Dandy's World does these floors but better, but also there's no way a single floor alone can justify a game like this. There's a lot of other nitpicks that I can talk about, like how the decorations on the wall don't really fit the vibe of certain rooms, how garbage the models look, and even how the shop lasts way less than the Dandy's World, but I feel like this is enough to show you that the game is it just sucks! However, I wouldn't be making this video if it was just to rant on the gameplay. I mean, I still would, but there's bigger things to talk about. When I first made my short talking about this, I truly didn't know what I was getting myself into, as it all started with me finding this one tweet. This tweet came to my attention on Twitter, and it was a quote tweet from @CIsACoolKid, which reads, "Just learning that the devs steal OCs and force people to pay them to have them taken out. Do not play this shit." This was a quote tweet to another user @Bulinsky, simply saying, "Dude," with a picture of the game with one of the characters being Peanut Butter Cookie on the thumbnail. I assumed that this tweet was being made because Bulinsky owned Peanut Butter Cookie, but I didn't find anything backing that up though. So seeing this tweet, I decided to run through some of the comments, and found a lot of interesting things. There were a lot of comments hating the game, much like I was. This game is suck. Literally the worst experience I've ever had playing a DW ripoff. That game is just like it's just Dandy's World if it was pay to win. For real, I didn't like the game anymore because it was so and boring. Clearly, I wasn't the only one who hated this game with a passion. However, there were other things that were mentioned, such as the game having stolen OCs. If I remember correctly, a lot of those are stolen OC designs and the staff is underpaid. Didn't the creators steal some designs for the game? It's not that good and the designs are stolen. I played it once and it's literally just Dandy's World, but it's Cookie Run with stolen OCs. Not only that, but there are other people commenting about the OCs that they had that were legitimately stolen and put into the game. My OC, Vanilla Cream, was stolen and put into this game, LMAO. Don't play it. The devs are horrendous. I can't find them in the list of cookies that are playable, but I looked it up myself and there's clearly a video of someone playing as Vanilla Cream uploaded by CyberHaptic. Heya, name's Owl, and I'm one of the people whose OCs got stolen, Chaka Fudge Cookie. Again, Chaka Fudge Cookie is not in the current list of playable cookies, but there's still videos of him existing, like this one uploaded by CloudQQ. Hello, Past Dev of the Game here. Everything said in the video be true. Stole OCs, mine included Rip Stopwatch Cookie, my NB, underpaid workers, rushed updates, plus made the game pay to win against the wishes of the dev team, had us, mainly me, write lore just for them to not read it. I looked into the game once again, and wouldn't you know it, this time Stopwatch Cookie did exist as a playable cookie. Not only that, but that comment was left by a developer. And if that's not bad enough, past artists have even came out about this thing as well. Hi, former artist here, Kaoru. The game sucks and so are the owners themselves. I was removed as an artist from the game without any clear notice at all. Still, I haven't gotten paid and I'm blocked by the owners. My art is still being used in the game. Game Pass, badges, and a logo. Some DM screenshots in the thumbnail I drew in question. I drew fully rendered thumbnails and icons and was only paid 4K for it all. Here's the screenshot provided and there's 4 people within the images. Abby, being the artist and person for the tweet, Locke, who I currently assume is a developer who's paying cheap for the art, Brilliant, who I assume is another developer who also pays cheap for the art, and Random Spaghetti, a Discord member. Hello Locke. I was just wondering about payment for the stuff I drew. I've been wondering a bit, but was a little worried about asking. Yeah, what do you want for payment? I mostly just want payment for the icon, thumbnails, and some of the concepts. I assume it's in Robux, yes? Yeah. Is 15k Robux possible at all? Sheesh, I can't do that much. Alright, apologies. Can you do 2k? Yeah, let me send the game pass. Thank you. I know this is super urgent, but is there any way you can make a thumbnail in like 8 hours? I could pay you 2k Robux right now. Depends. What kind of thumbnail do you need? A boss thumbnail in this style. This is the one we got right now, but we need kids to click on it, so we kind of need another one. The third image is most likely the art that was based around the second image. Respectfully, this is the second time, but I believe it's the Chocolate owner that's doing this. Then there's a video that says Cookie Kingdom Word, which I'm assuming it means world, stealing OCs, underpaying young naive devs and more. Just wanted to show you this. Okay, if the creator of Chocolate Fudge Cookie is doing this, then I cannot do anything. I have no contact with him, nor does Abby anymore from my understanding. You should ask the creator. Bear in mind, if 1,000 Robux would be worth $10, then 15,000 would be worth 150 in art commissions, and yet they only paid Abby 40 bucks. And bear in mind, in my opinion, it's not just the fact that they paid low, but for example in the tweet, they decide to ask for something in such a short amount of time. I mean, 8 hours for something that's only worth 2,000 Robux? Even just from this tweet alone, a response to it gave me even more information. He managed another game with a YouTuber program to promote it, and the payment for it was genuinely abysmal. Plus, many minors were in it too, and I was concerned about it initially, so it's sad to see this actually happening with other people. So apparently, either if it's luck or brilliant, they manage games like this before, pay abysmally, and try and involve minors into it as well. All of this information I'd gotten from the replies of this one tweet alone. But wait until you hear about some of the info on this tweet too. This was a tweet posted by @Cathody. Hey, I don't know if this will get around anywhere, but despite wanting my OC removed, they're still using him. Can't really do much because I'm just a guy, but hopefully the word gets around. I was told by a dev that no model was ever made, so I was just straight up lied to by someone. The first image shows Cathody's OC, Devil Cream Cookie, being teased within Cookie Runner's Kingdom, which is the same game as Cookie Kingdom World, not to cause confusion. The second image is of Devil Cream Cookie with a front, back, and different face designs. Lastly is a Discord conversation between Cathody, aka Cathode, and another user named Robin. Hi, I seen your comment on the Twitter thread. Do not worry, I contacted the scripter about your character. It isn't being added. The owners of the game did leave, so not much is done now, and from what I heard, a model was never made regardless. Okay, thank you so much. I was in contact with a modeler who made something, but the animator assigned to him left the team anyway, so I just kinda assumed nothing was gonna come of it anyway. The thing is, Cathody is right. Despite being messaged saying that no model was made, not only was it teased in the thumbnail of the game, but the model itself was even teased in the Cookie Kingdom World Discord server, which was even posted in the comments. Hey, I'm still in that server, too lazy to leave. They do have a model of your OC. I was aware a model existed, and I actually have this Blender file as the modeler gave it to me when he left the team. However, I wasn't informed the model was already given to the team. So not only was the model already created, but the modeler even straight up left the team as well, much like a bunch of other people mentioned before. Even the animator of the Devil Cream Cookie model commented on this post. Hey, as the ex-dev who was gonna animate this model, I would like to talk to you about this over on Discord. I think there's some things you need to know about. I have contacted you before on there, but I forgot your user. It's DraconX Creations. While I don't know if this conversation did continue on Discord, what I can tell you is that this rabbit hole goes even deeper than I thought. I can't really tell very well considering the image quality, but there's a non-zero chance they used AI to make the model and then cleaned it up to avoid doing something about it. Take this claim with like a bag of salt. I just woke up and the images aren't clear. A former dev told me they've been using AI for thumbnails. I can fetch a better screenshot of the thumbnail when they remove the hourglass thing. Please do. I have an eye for AI crust. Even with the hourglass, there's definitely a weird fuzz around his weird mouth you can see barely through the decal. It already looks like it has that AI airbrush issue that it always has. Too soft and sharp at the same time. They have another thumbnail that's odd too, namely Wizard's eye, Strawberry's face, and the area around where GB is holding his cane. And then another that's just straight up stolen artwork. Sorry for the poor quality, I'm on mobile right now, but I can fetch you a higher res one later. Wow, okay, the picture quality is so much worse than I thought. Give me a sec, I'll turn on my laptop. In clearer res, I'm pretty sure the Ginger Brave one is just another promo piece they grabbed. The low quality made it hard to pick out details, but the Shadow Milk one is stolen from @PCacao_. So while I can't confidently say that they use AI directly to make their thumbnails, but it most likely leans towards that fact, they still used it to make certain images upscaled via AI. And not only that, but they even stole someone else's artwork, and I assume without permission. And of course, more users of stolen OCs that were discovered from the replies of this tweet as well. They also stole my friend's OC, Mist Void Cookie. They're so weird, dude. I once again checked in the game, and both in the cookie section and the crumbled section, Mist Void Cookie does exist as a cookie you can play as well as run into. Even it was discovered that within the Cookie Kingdom World Discord server, they were trying to hide things. Dude, I remember seeing this when they deleted all the channels in the server. He low-key found a place where we can make threads and started mass pinging people until the mods found it. I was so confused when I saw that the same character posted in that thread was announced. What's the Discord server? I'm not sure. I left the Discord server a while ago when it went under a new owner and they wiped all the channels. You could probably find it by searching around on here or TikTok. They don't have their server linked on the Roblox Roblox Game's page. Alright. I'm going to be real. I can't confirm nor deny this since I'm not in the Discord server myself. However, considering that these claims came from more than one witness, it's no doubt that it's true. I kept seeing all of these comments about more and more people hating the game, and then I struck gold. Also, I want to bring attention that this isn't the first time that they have stolen OCs in the past, nor has it been the first time that they have kept OCs that the owners of said OCs want to have removed. This doc is a little outdated, but the point still stands. Here's a doc containing everything they've done. This was made in the same month it happened, so it may or may not be outdated. There's an actual Google doc containing everything, or at least a lot of things that this game has done in the past. I needed to see this for myself. You know, when I made my short about this game, there was a lot of comments saying the same thing. We're only scratching the surface here. It gets far, far worse. This gets so much worse. Please get the word out now. Do make a full form, please. The more clear information on the situation, the better. Please make that a long vid. I played this game once or twice before finding out that they f***ed over a dev from a different Kick Your Own Kingdom game I played. I knew this situation was bad, but I couldn't believe some of the things I've witnessed within this Google Doc. I'm not going to go over every single thing in painstakingly long detail. If you want to look at the doc yourself, here's a link to it. Instead, I'm going to be summarizing a lot of the important points on this document, which either expands on information that was already presented, or new information that you probably haven't seen. The payment problems of Cookie Kingdom World. People who have done work for Cookie Kingdom World have had lack of payment, and also have claimed that they are underpaid for the work that they do. As shown here in the screenshot, redacted user explains frustrations with the application. I'm not trying to be rude, but I genuinely think the way that this is set up is highly unprofessional and kind of inappropriate. There's no actual verification process, volunteer places often don't take volunteers under the age of 15 and 16 anyways, and it's not specified explicitly if it's volunteer work or paid work, plus how many hours is genuinely a paid job question. Plus, lovingly said, it's your responsibility to write the story for your own game. Of course, this might come off as rude, not my intention, I'm bad with tone. Justice for Wither too. Dude's labeled as a lore writer while doing one of the most difficult parts of designing a game. While talking about this, Brilliant even responded saying, "When I mean paid, it's not like something crazy, it's just bonuses, etc." There's a link to a video that showcases the whole application process, and saying that you need to have certain qualifications is a huge understatement to say the least. Have you had any experience in creating lore? Why are you a good fit to become a lore maker? What is one thing that stands out about you? How long can you work per week? What is your Discord username? That's it. Oh, and also if you're wondering, this is how much that they paid the developers for to work in these games. You would think that over $5,000 is actually pretty solid, right? This is in Robux. This basically equals to $53.55. Now, something important is a name that'll be popping up constantly. Wither. Wither is a previous developer of the game who expressed their frustrations about the game shown up in this image here. A big congratulations to you for actually taking the effort to translate this first and foremost. And secondly, this isn't lore. Here's a list of the crimes being committed in the dev team. Wage theft. A large chunk of us, wouldn't be surprised if it was all of us, haven't been paid in over the last 7 to 12 months. I personally was promised pay for all of the work I've done thus far, and I have gotten none of it. Child labor / employment of minors. None of the developers are checked for their age before applying. Retaliation. Mentioning the fact that you haven't been paid, why designs have been stolen / used in-game without permission, and why you haven't yet been given things you should have had access to months, and after that, I think the message cuts off there. Oh, and just because Wither exposed how much they weren't getting paid, they got timed out for it. Now, there's also something else that needs to be talked about here too. Hush money. There was an incident involving Wither in 2021 where they helped develop a Jurassic Park Roblox game, and the person who ran it was an adult. To say the least, they treated Wither very badly as shown in the images. So, Wither then retaliated by creating a hidden backdoor which, in tech terms, means that you can access certain systems that bypass security checks. This means that Wither can have access to things such as data, the control of the game, admin privileges, and more. However, knowing this, the developers of Cookie Kingdom World deemed Wither as too dangerous, so they paid hush money towards Wither just in case, which is just really scummy. Why not just pay the dude in the first place? Another thing that's really weird are the bots within the server that mentions that they're a part of a mutual server, so I don't think they're a part of the Cookie Kingdom World Discord server, but they're most likely ran by someone who was close to it. Some commands are more innocent like /aura, /achievements all, and /cat. However, /boobs, // and possibly more. Even some of the events that happen are just really weird and creepy when you put in these commands. Now, we have already talked about some of the OCs that were stolen, like the ones that I mentioned before, being Vanilla Cream Cookie and Chocolate Fudge Cookie. However, there's a lot more information about it that was shown here. Owl, the creator of Chocolate Fudge Cookie, had actually spoken out against the creators when she found out that they added Chocolate Fudge Cookie to the game without permission, once on a 6-minute long TikTok post and another on a long Tumblr post. I'll quickly summarize the posts. Owl found out through one of her friends that Chocolate Fudge Cookie was being added to Cookie Kingdom World without her permission, but was soon added as an artist since the developers seemed to like her character. This is where she met Abby, the creator of Vanilla Cream Cookie, who was another stolen OC. Owl and Abby then confronted the current lead developers, being Locke, Brilliant, and Who. They give Owl and Abby two proposals. A. Remove their characters and offer them under 3,000 Robux in compensation. B. Straight up buy their characters for 30,000 Robux to use in their game. Personally, option B sounds like straight up Disney, so Owl and Abby chose option A. Abby got paid and she was fine. However, Owl still requested for her character to be immediately removed from the game. Because of this, Locke, Brilliant, and Who deemed the way Owl was speaking as inconsiderate and unreasonable, which then led to not only Owl getting timed out, but ultimately banned from the Discord server. Now, luckily, whilst Chocolate Fudge Cookie was ultimately removed, I still feel really bad for Owl and Abby in this situation, as it was one that they never needed to be involved with in the first place, but because of the owners never considering how the original owners of the OCs would feel, they were practically forced into the situation. And if that wasn't bad enough, the developers thought it would be a good idea to add a reward code, no more Choco, when they removed Chocolate Fudge Cookie from the game. This was just the spit in the face towards Owl. Now let's move on to another user known as Soda, who owns the character of Mist Void Cookie and wanted to leave to focus on creating VR chat avatars. Of course, they also requested for the removal of Mist Void Cookie from the game. However, the message was then suddenly deleted, and then after that, the main chat was then locked and then unlocked. Then, Soda made a full statement explaining why they ended up leaving Cookie Kingdom World, which I'll read in full here. I left the Cookie Kingdom World project. Here are my reasons. 1. Locke told one of my best friends to cut me off their closest friends because they left the game. 2. The owners, Locke and Brilliant, refused to remove the characters that they originally had permission to add from the game, such as Crystal Rose and my character, Mist Void Cookie. 3. They overworked the developers with a tight update per week to keep the player base entertained. I used the argument that if the players liked the game, then they would play the game even if there weren't weekly updates. 4. They made it so that those working could not hang out with their friends or anything because of said schedule. 5. They changed the apology message about the stolen OCs into a blame Wither message because of something they did when they were young, a 2021 backdoor situation, as in 14 when they were in a situation with a toxic person. 6. The entire game is a cash grab. They will try and convince you otherwise, but in reality, it's just a pay-to-win Dandy's World. This is why I left the project. And Brilliant, one of the owners, who they spelled as Brilliant, contacted me after I left asking me why. I told him a couple reasons, because I was asked not to tell them in specific. In the end, he said, I am recording this conversation for my own safety, which I don't know why he would need to do that. I will have more free time to do my own things now. I reported the game for stolen assets because they don't want to remove my character and other taken characters. I genuinely feel bad for everyone who had to endure this trash, from Wither, Owl, Abby, Soda, and other victims of this. Not only this, but there were also messages from Locke who refused to remove another OC, being Crystal Rose Cookie. I did check and Crystal Rose Cookie isn't in the game, but was at one point, which was shown by this video made by ChristFG. There's even an unlisted video attached between Brilliant and MyZite 2.0, which I think was the main person who made the document in the first place. Also, if you think AI thumbnails and stealing artwork is bad, then how about tracing art for a thumbnail? This thumbnail of a cookie, who I think is supposed to be Sweet Serpent Cookie, is clearly just a traced remake of an official Cookie Run Kingdom costume for Black Pearl Cookie's Crimson Spectre of the Abyss costume. You want proof? Here's the images overlapping each other. There's also this post regarding Locke and another artist for the game who want to make some new shopkeeper NPCs but based around official cookies already. However, they want to make OC versions of these cookies because they really couldn't be original. But come on, they clearly wouldn't make bootleg versions of official Cookie Run cookies that already exist because they can't stomach being original, right? Oh, and one more thing. Sometimes they just lie about their prices. You would think this right here means you could spend 75 Robux for 300 cookie cutters, when in actuality it's 200 Robux instead. This basically goes over the whole document for the most part, but I need to say this right now. There's one thing that I'm truly happy for, and it's the fact that I made my short video about this whole game, because people actually came to talk to me about it. Hello, owner of Devil Cream Cookie here. The owners have a history of stealing OCs as well as keeping OCs that the OC owners of have asked to be removed. They also have a history of mistreating their devs, underpaying modelers and artists, and purposely seeking out artists who are minors so that they can get away with underpaying. They have gotten exposure for their dev drama in the past and tried to push it off. In the past, their controversy was pushed off by the devs bribing people to shut up about it, and the devs eventually pinned the blame on a former dev named Wither, who was used basically as a scapegoat. Nonetheless, the devs also used official characters and promotional art to monetize their game passes. So please report the game and get the word around. I won't let them run away with this one either. The same Cathety, who made Devil Cream Cookie, as well as the one that I had mentioned previously, actually found this video. I was genuinely surprised that this short would blow up and that it would hopefully spread this message around, for it was just the beginning of what people will come out and tell me. I was first DM'd by a user on TikTok who requested that they remain anonymous, so to respect them, I censored out their name just in case. They first messaged me on TikTok asking for my Discord to disclose information regarding the issues with Sweet Oven Studios with proof, so I provided my Discord and get their messages. Here are all the messages I can provide. Hello, thank you for taking the time to talk to me about this. So I was one of the people who OC was going to be used way back in July 2025. There was this process where you posted them into a section of the server called OC Submissions, and your OC got a chance to be put into the game eventually. The first two chosen were two characters with working models, but not yet in the game. You'd simply DM this person when you wanted your OC to be looked at and reviewed. I just done that, even offering to change a bit of her backstory to fit more general lore. Until July 10th, the curator and person who usually graded and marked all of this disappeared from the server and project altogether. The devs pinged myself into the channel to boost Saffron Cookie up to be a legendary type cookie. I was excited and therefore agreed. It was my own fault that I assumed that there would be payment and also communication. Here's evidence of a curated OC section they had at the time, but the server itself had been reduced so you can't even chat in there anymore. By October 10th, they also had yet to start on my OC, after they had put out 3 or 4 more OCs before, promising they'd all come out. I was also a streamer for them plus content for them. Originally you were given a special tag and paid for, neither of which happened to myself. I got nothing. This is everything as I stepped away from the drama and such. Thank you for letting me talk about this. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll put all the DMs on the screen right now if you're so curious in reading them all. While it may not seem like much compared to other things mentioned before, bear this in mind. It's one thing to make content for a certain game, however, when you actually help with the game by providing errors shown with footage provided and you get nothing out of it, it seems ridiculous. If anything, I'm glad that their OC never made it into the game because I don't want people's OCs to rot in this dumpster fire of a game. Now, of course, from TikTok again, I got a message from randombozo22, which goes over some chat logs about being one of the friends of someone who had their OC stolen from. Hi, I saw your recent video about the Cookie Run Kingdom Dandy's World clone, and I'm actually friends with someone who had their OC stolen, and I had to personally reach out to them to get them to remove them. I can provide some screenshots if you plan to do an expose on them. This was a conversation I had with one of the game's Discord mods. I don't quite remember their role, but they were one of the people close to development. I can ask the creator of the stolen OC if you would like, but I don't want to include any other SS if she doesn't want to be involved for her mental well-being. But yeah, basically what happened from our point of view is one day my friend was scrolling YouTube and saw a video of the game that had her OC in it. They freaked out on the server we share because, obviously, it was shocking. They ended up reaching out and wanted to help the devs at the time, so they helped with a few things. The deadlines were pretty tight for no reason and they paid pretty unfairly. My game ended up wanting their OC out of the game, which the devs made a big deal about and said that they'd pay her in Robux, which as an artist is wild, so I got involved and threatened legal action, then they removed her OC. They also spent half of our conversation about removing her OC trying to get me to fight against their detractors for some reason, you can see in the screenshots. So in short, they stole her OC, she was compassionate and decided she wanted to help the indie developers, they hit her with unfair paying deadlines, and when she wanted her OC out of the game, they took forever to do so and offered to pay her like $20-ish in Robux for using her originally without asking. My personal opinion is that it's a bunch of inexperienced devs who don't know how to respond to criticism professionally or pay people fair prices. But yeah, I hope if more people just hear about what they've done, they will clean up their act. I don't want to send off a witch hunt, but they need to get more pushback. Turns out the user that was mentioned before in the video, Random Spaghetti, is the same user as before who was a friend of Abby who created Vanilla Cream Cookie. It may seem like it adds nothing to a story, but what's important is that it adds more to a witness account, making this information more solid and factual. And if you're wondering, it doesn't even end there. On Discord, I had a few other messages of people coming out about the stuff, such as this user being gloomy, they also go by Amy Rose. Hey HyperHimes, I'm an exploitee of Cookie Kingdom World and the one who was keeping track of their problematic situation since the start. I heard you were making something on it and I may have a bit of info to help you out during the start of it all and my time there. I was the co-creator of the server who kept track of things we thought were suspicious with Cookie Kingdom World. Of course, the most notable was not paying their employees, stealing OCs, unfair time ranges, tracing, hired minors, etc. Eventually we got into contact with Wither and got clarification on many things of which I believe he'd done discussed with you already. Furthermore, Wither made an announcement in the Kiki Kingdom World server, and a few hours after I end up in a call with Brilliant to discuss the information and all the allegations that was held against him. I offered to help him out with pricing and managing things like helping split pay and scheduling for people. Eventually, I became a mod for them, helping them out in the server. Eventually, I kept dealing with people bringing up the drama while being promoted to an admin. During my process there, the owners seemed to have noticed that one of the owners seemed to have been ignoring them and mainly speaking to me and only asking me to do things. They began to spend lots of Robux on people as in a way to hush people from the lack of money people earn while working there. I don't know if that was the way they were thinking of it, but it seemed like it too many. Many people's OCs were stolen and one of the characters weren't removed till I said I was gonna quit. But by that time, the owners had already told me they were gonna quit before anyone else did. Sorry if this is missing a lot and all, my family was bugging me and I'm spending time with my sister. Oh, I would also like to specify, I am Robin in that one short you posted. I was told that their OC would not have been put in there, but ever since it's allegedly been given to someone else, they're putting characters in that they're not allowed to. I would also like to clarify so nobody thinks I'm lying on that because I had no idea that they would have added that character. Edited part, I was an admin for the Discord server, not a developer. One thing that this message reveals was that hush money was apparently a common practice, not just used on Wither for the backdoor incident, but to silence people about complaining that people weren't getting paid. This is genuinely something I just don't understand. You don't have the money to pay the people you have working on your game, but you have the money to shut people up? Why not just pay the workers? Now, as of right now, there's one more thing that needs to be said. I was able to get in contact with Wither themselves, and they were also able to help me in a very big way. How? Well, to not give away all of the information, let's just say that they archived a bunch of stuff to use as evidence for how terrible this game and its developers are. Oh, and bear in mind, this isn't about stuff that happened in the past. This is also current stuff too! You want some examples? Take a whole boatload of evidence! They stole another OC by the name of Jester Lemon Cookie, another thumbnail that was either stolen or AI, so I threw it in a bunch of reverse image searchers and found nothing, so it's most likely AI. Game design where the more floors you go down, the laggier the game somehow gets. A user known as Azia spreading this information and then getting reported in the Discord server with developers trying to cover it up by saying that it's misinformation. The people behind the Kiki Kingdom World wiki knowing about the situation who were equally appalled by the situation. A post about changing the game passes but blaming it on Wither. A post when Devil Cream Kiki was teased, yet they never even credited the original artist. Constant messages to both Locke and Brilliant about explaining themselves, evidence, or anything of the sort, only to be met with silence and Locke and Brilliant eventually just leaving without saying a single word. Proof that a user, Kaoru, was banned for not getting paid, and Locke then responding as if dismissing it, saying it was a different reason, or saying, have they asked for payment? Do you not know how commissions work? A developer named Andrew confirming that they did get paid nothing and also says he gives me stuff sometimes, I'm just helping with the server cause he's my friend, as well as confirming he's only 16. Messages of others blocking Wither, such as DraconX Creations, which if I could just add something, DraconX Creations tried to DM me only to immediately delete the message. I wonder what that was about. A message that just straight up defends tracing art. Paying a big YouTuber to defend your game from everything that's been spreading around. More info from Swiper TV blaming Wither for things like this. And who can forget when the developers claimed he was called a very terrible person to minors despite never being called one in the first place. And as one more nail to slam the coffin shut, I got an email from someone who claimed that the game was botted for visits. Compare the like amount to the visit count and you can clearly see that it does not make any sense. Everything that I've told you in this video is the current, obvious truth. I don't know what the fate of Kiki Kingdom World will be, but I want you all to know something. The people who are continuing to talk about this will not back down without a fight, and I totally agree with them. And you know what? You can take down the game and also put some other franchise of silly garbage up on Roblox, but know this. The truth is the only thing that can push us all forward. Oh, and just to add a little bit of a tidbit, be sure to hear from Devsisters soon after people email them about the situation, because I feel like the game being taken down will be the least of your worries. But for now, that's it. I have heard that Roblox and KikiRun are collabing for something big, so be sure to support their official work as well as support games that actually have fair working conditions, fair pay, and a positive image that can help inspire others to make their own games and have bright futures. So I need to end off this video by saying this. While I need to strictly say to you not to witch hunt people mentioned in this video in particular, I need you all to spread this message of the game as much as possible, as everyone deserves their justice. Too many people were affected by this game in a negative manner, and for all I know, it could have affected you if you played it before. But this may not be the definitive end, as the game is still up after all, so we'll just have to stay tuned. But thanks for tuning in anyway.